We are a border city of about 250,000 people located between San Diego and Tijuana. Like many mid-sized cities, we don't have a violent crime rate that's off the charts, but we do have an overwhelming number of domestic violence incidents. So much, in fact, that domestic violence, including domestic disturbances, is our #2 call type, second only to false burglary alarms. DV is a big deal for us. In a recent year, we had more DV calls for service than all robbery, residential burglary, vehicle theft, and vehicle burglary calls for service put together. So DV really takes a toll on our community, on our families, and on our kids, and on our officers too. Our officers respond again and again, year after year, to the same DV addresses. These calls are dangerous and frustrating for everyone involved. And our DV problem's not getting any better, despite the reductions we've seen in other calls and other types of calls for service. Every year since 2003, we've received the same number of DV calls. It's imperative for us that we try something new to reduce DV, and that this new approach is based on evidence and research.
In our Smart Policing Initiative, our goal is to reduce domestic violence crime, DV calls for service, but especially repeat domestic violence calls for service. Right now we're doing a very comprehensive problem analysis of DV in our community and developing a tailored response to the problem that builds on successful initiatives used by police in other jurisdictions. These include, so far, a tiered response to domestic violence calls based on the number of times officers have been to an address or responded to a couple previously. And we are calling this our enhanced patrol response. It's been very successful in Great Britain. The second approach is we'll be using a focused deterrence approach that we apply to DV offenders. The High Point, North Carolina Police Department is using this approach with very impressive results. And third, we'll be doing a follow-up with the victim and offender at 7 days and 28 days after the initial DV call. Fremont, California Police Department did this and reduced repeat calls at chronic DV locations by more than 60%.
But we're facing some challenges. We have good data on DV crimes, but not on DV calls. We need to create a name-based DV call for service record for when no crime has occurred. Nearly 60% of our DV calls for service are verbal only. In other words, no crime has been committed. We know where the repeat residential addresses are, but if another incident involving the same people occurs at the Walmart, their apartment parking lot, or at another home, we can't link all of these incidents together. This makes our estimate of repeat rates lower than they actually are. We expect two things from our enhanced patrol response. For first DV calls, we expect to prevent a substantial number of repeat calls for that couple. And our second expectation is that focused deterrence applied to the most chronic and serious DV offenders is effective at preventing additional violence.